Hey, 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 we're back. We're black.
Oh.
We're
There we go.
brown. Ambition. I missed you.
I missed you too, but not you slowing the beat down on me. I was ready with the choreo, and then I couldn't find it. Had me looking like a fool out here on the dance floor. Hello, my dear.
How have you been?
I feel like I need to talk to you like this.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because I was
on
in
European vacation. Yes.
It wasn't
Do
as glamorous
say.
as the girls would. Well,
Although I don't know why I have a Cockney accent.
well, I'll say
Go
this.
ahead.
First and foremost, I had an amazing time. I don't know about Supergirl, but my 43-year-old heart had an amazing time. And
What was the itinerary?
So first we did London town, and it was super fun. You know, went to the London Eye, Big Ben, Westminster Abbey.
Nice weather.
Yeah, it actually was really great weather. It didn't rain not once. You know, London is not known for its good weather. It was sunny. We said a really cute place. And then too, what I liked is that we did high tea, you know, which of course Supergirl was like, I don't drink tea. I was like, drink it. We took a chocolate making class. It was just like, she's like, I don't know if I'm gonna, y'all with teenagers.
Damn, you took a grown and sexy vacation.
Girl, y'all with
Soft
teenagers.
life vacation.
How you don't punch them in the face?
Is she the kind of teenager that wants to go to a foreign country so she can shop at H&M?
I mean, literally. She was like, can we go shopping?
Okay.
She was like, oh, there's the
Now I
babe store. I
understand.
was like, so this is why you came. Yeah, so she loved the shopping then. And she was like, you know, she thought London was pretty cool. You know, but still, there was definitely times where it's like, can we have Chipotle? I'm like, no. And then the second trip, so we did 4 days London, 5 days Paris, like 4 nights, 5 days Paris. And Paris was like, we did like a dinner cruise on the River Seine, I guess what it's called, but it's really beautiful. We got super dressed up. I mean, like one thing I did love is that we like, you know, our outfits were definitely hitting. I mean, like your girl it was super cute. She had an okay time there, because I'm not going to lie, that was kind of adultish. But whatever, child. You say you want to go Paris.
Let's have a cocktail on the River Seine.
Yes, exactly. So
view.
it was like, so, you know, I don't even have a cocktail, but I was getting my life. And then we also went to, she really loved Paris Disney. We went to Disney Paris, which that's what made me realize,
Come
she
on
really
now.
a kid. But and honestly, we had a ton of fun because we got one of those like skip the line passes. So yeah, it was a really good time. And I think that was her favorite day. We also did the top of the Eiffel Tower, which I wanted to strangle her when I was like, oh, we're at the Eiffel Tower. She looked so unimpressed, like, I guess. I was like, oh, because we have one of these in Newark. And then she was like, do we have to go to the top? Like,
You guys have an Eiffel Tower in Newark?
no, we don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, she's acting as if like,
okay.
but she was acting
number
like,
times I've been
girl,
there.
I guess. I'm like, sis, we live in Newark, New Jersey. No shade to Newark. I live here. But it's
Yeah.
not giving Eiffel Tower chic. Okay?
Yeah.
So I was like, Alyssa, we're not walking. We're not, like, some people do take the steps. I could see if she said, do we have to go to the top because we're taking the steps. We're taking the 3-minute elevator. Is that too much? So we did. We took beautiful pictures. We honestly, I'll just say I had a good time. We ate at our first French cafe in Paris. I was, this is your first Parisian cafe. She was like, okay. When do my friends wake up? You know, because that was like her big thing. And so, I will say this, that one, the lesson I learned, because Alyssa and I, we didn't argue that. We've never had an argumentative relationship. We're just, Alyssa and I have always had very chill. I know how to give her space. One, I underestimated how much she would be homesick. So I was like, oh, poor baby, because she and her mom are really, really close. And now that Jarrell's not here, they're even closer. And so I underestimated how much she would really just miss her mama. So I understood that, you know, because mama is home. And two, and like, you know, and then lastly, we finished up in Italy. We did the Amalfi Coast. We stayed at Sorrento. We took like this boat cruise and got to see like the coast and like get out and shop and eat gelato and like sit on the beach. She was like, Italy was my least favorite. I was like, really? Because it was pretty amazing. Literally, our hotel was on the water. And she was
Yeah.
like, wow, it's pretty. I was like, oh my
We got
God, is that a
water back
wow? So, but what I realized is that one, Alyssa has not traveled a lot. Like, you know, Jarrell and I had taken her to Florida and California, but not like extensively. So to go from we've been to Florida twice to we're in a 10-day vacation with me, just me and you sharing a room, because Alyssa does stay with me 1 to 2 weeks out of every month here, like at the house. But she has her own room. She moves about. I'm just basically here to make sure she eats and does. I don't have to check on her and do her homework. She is pretty self-sufficient. So sharing a room, being in close quarters, which it wasn't bad. It's just different, So yeah. I didn't anticipate how different that kind of interaction would be for her, and how much she'd missed her mom. I think it would have been easier if the time zones weren't so different, because she would have to wait 6 hours before she could call her and just be like, hey, Ma, see her face, So,
oh yeah,
yeah. So I
would have been cuter if she could FaceTime the girls at home.
Yes,
while
yes, I think that and also too that if I would have, because I use points. If I'm being honest, shout out to Amex. Hey girl, you need to sponsor us. So I use Amex largely for my business. I have a gold card, but I don't use it as much. I typically I have 2 businesses that use the Amex card, and what I like about Amex is that my gold card and my 2 platinum cards, all the points accumulate into one bucket unless you otherwise ask them to separate the bucket. So they accumulate into this one bucket, and that bucket had over 1 million points. So I didn't really have to come out of pocket. From the taxi rides or the rides that we preordained, from all of the activities, I use my Chase reward. Remember Chase Go Get Your Run, the Chase Venture card that we used to go on?
Nope. Still not right.
Chase.
You're conflating the Capital One venture with the Chase. What is it? You call it the Chase Good Time card. It's the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Yeah, so that card had 200-something thousand points or so. And so a friend of mine, Tori, helped because she does luxury vacations. So she helped me book all of the excursions and things. We made pasta in Italy, the best. Oh my goodness, on a farm that picked the tomatoes fresh. It was, and we made tiramisu there, girl. It was the best tasting. So that was amazing. She did enjoy that. So she all those types of like I said, we did chocolate making, high tea. We had all these excursions and fun things that we did. So she used my Chase points for those things because she said that the choices were more robust there. And then she used Amex for the hotels. And then I had United points because I fly so much with United that she used that for the flight. And so it was just great because nice. If I'm being honest, that trip was probably, if I would have paid out of pocket, because I wouldn't have paid this out of pocket but because it was points, it probably was at least $15,000, honestly.
Damn.
I know, because we flew first class, which is business. So, but I didn't have to normally if we were going, I'm not going to lie, just because of the cost, I probably just, if I was paying out of pocket, would have paid and said, okay, economy. And I wouldn't have done maybe 3 countries, maybe just 2, because Paris and London are closer to each other. But because literally it was just what I did pay out of pocket were just the food and things like that, which was fairly nominal, relatively speaking, because 2 of the hotels had breakfast included. But it's honestly, it took for those of y'all who are parents, especially the kids you gave birth to, it took me maybe a day or 2 to remind myself that I am allowed to have a good time, even if she is adjusting to the fact that she's not home. Do you know what I mean? Because at first I felt bad about, am I free to have a good time if she's still trying to figure out how she feels about where we are? Because I'm girl, get my life,
Yeah.
And so once I was Tiffany, it's allowed. You are here to continue to check in on her, to help, expand her view of the world, to show her we went to the Palace of Versailles, which is gorgeous. She didn't like it so much, because we walked the gardens, and she was I hated that. But one day she'll look back at all those pictures and be wow, I can't believe I was there. So I was it's your job to expand her knowledge, expand what she's seen. She might not love it in the moment. That's okay. And we negotiated. I was tomorrow we're supposed to do this, but you seem tired. We don't have to do that. I can cancel now. We get our money back and we could just chill. So there were 2 things that we kind of took off because it was a pretty packed itinerary.
Sounds like traveling with my husband, to be honest. It reminds me, and I feel no matter what the relationship is, travel will always present like a different version of the person that you never knew, or like you'll find new things about them and about yourself, and you'll learn for next time. And you know, the first year of my relationship with my husband at the time, I can't believe I got a Groupon trip to Turkey. And it was like 13 days, and it was one of these like group travel trips, like a tour group, and you were on a big bus, and we went to 6 cities in 13 days, and we were on that bus every other day, and it was kind of like napping on the bus. And I didn't know that he can't sleep anywhere but a Serta mattress that costs hundreds of thousands, if not dollars. But anyway, a very expensive mattress with a pillow, with a temperature controlled, you know, air conditioning in the corner, and like, you know, all of his favorite things next to him on the nightstand. So, oh wow, the fact that we survived that trip, because I'm like, I will sleep. I can sleep standing up. Same. I'll sleep on the hard dirt floor. I was gonna get up at 4 a.m. for the hot air balloon excursion in Cappadocia, because when are you gonna be in Cappadocia again? And I was like, how am I going to be with the guy who sleeps through this? He didn't. I dragged his ass to the hot air balloons. But anyway, yeah. So I completely get it. And I don't know. I was not as mature as you are in this moment. As like back then, I was like, this guy sucks, and we don't travel the same, and he's just like not into da 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 da. But cut to our last big trip to Portugal, or no, Costa Rica. Actually, Costa Rica, our baby moon. That was like, I was so proud of myself for the restraint that I had, and the compromises, and how we came up with the trip where we both could enjoy. Yeah, so.
No, I love that. And because you start to realize that, like, it's okay for people to have different, because I'm not going to lie, it was really endearing, because Jarrell was not a big traveler. He wanted to be, like, his favorite thing, like, let's go to this nice place so I can stay in the hotel and watch movies. Like, that's, and so to watch her kind of do that, I was like, if that ain't her daddy. Like, so it was just kind of like, and I told her, and what I really, really appreciated is, like, by the time we got to Italy and she was like really kind of like over it and tired, I was like, I know you're having a hard time. She's like, I don't want to seem ungrateful, because I am really grateful. And everybody, I guess she was like, you know, sharing with her mom, and everybody's telling me I'm so ungrateful. It's just that I miss home. I miss my mom. I said, Alyssa, you're allowed. I hope you know that you're allowed to not love every single thing we've done. You're allowed to, you know, miss your mom. You're allowed to miss your friends. You know, I said, honestly, let's discuss so we could talk about like what you'd like to do next time. How would this look, you know? And she was like, you know, then she really unloaded, like, I ain't like this. And I was like, okay. But I was so glad that she felt safe to be able to share that, because I was like, I'm not going to offer any judgment. If she would have done this day 2 or 3, I certainly would have felt defensive. But by then, I had already remedied and rectified with myself. It is okay for her to have her own separate experience. You cannot create what you want her to feel, but you can just create the experience and have her lean into it. And so, it was funny, like, because at the end she was like, you know I chose, because she chose London and Paris. She's like, I know I chose London and Paris, but I feel like maybe I should have chose Canada, girl.
No shade to our Canadian friends.
I know, no shade. But I said, girl, if you wanted to go to Canada, we could have took the train there and back in 2 days. But I was rolling in my head, and I thought, okay, Alyssa, because her birthday's coming up.
With the wildfires and all?
I mean, she just like, because she was like, it's the same time zone as mommy. It's not as far. Aww. I know. And I just said, okay. Like, you know, I told her that next time we're going to do more research on like where we're going and what to expect. And we can certainly stay closer, like a Mexico or Jamaica or Canada, until you get older, you get more and more comfortable. But I said, I'm really glad that she said, but I am honestly really glad I got to experience this. And so, like, you know, that was, it was a really, like I said, once I flipped the switch in my head, I had an amazing time. I mean, in Italy, the hotel where we stayed, which is so beautiful, that was on like the coast. So you could literally, where you had breakfast, you're like, oh, hey, ocean, you cute. They had a sister hotel that you can go to, because they had this beautiful private beach that was like a cove that you walk into and opened up into this beach that looked like out of a movie. And of course I asked Alyssa, you want to go with me? Which I was hoping she said no, and she did. I was like, yay, because I don't want a sullen teenager sitting with me. So I was like, what are you gonna do? I told the hotel, like, there's there's like a you know, the woman who was at the front desk. I'm like, she's gonna be here, you know, by herself. She can't leave the hotel. There's no place to really go anywhere because it's private. I was like, she can go to they have a little private beach at that one, and like a pool, or sit on your private deck. And I said, you know, you could order anything, because because of Amex, we had like $100 or $200 credit to the room for food. I was like, try to keep it under $50, like whatever you order. And so, and if you do decide to go to the beach or the pool, just FaceTime me. And, so she was like, okay. So it gave her time to also have time to herself. But when I tell you, when I got to that private beach cove that you had to get to by golf cart, I mean,
paint me a picture, Tiff.
Oh my goodness,
take me there.
There was literally it opened up, like this rock formation opened up into this. It's like an oval that you walk through, and it's just like this crystal blue, sea green water, and maybe
was
like
it quiet.
What? Maybe like 10 beach chairs and 3 or 4 people out there. So it's just.
Were there no children?
I mean, no kids. And first of all, Italians are so like romantic. All the couples were making out. I was like, I want to make out.
Go to South America too. They love a park bench and a makeout sesh.
And so I was just like, it was so beautiful. And then they had a restaurant like built into like the side of the cove with the freshest everything. I was like, I'll take an octopus salad with a gnocchi. I mean, it was so delicious. The only thing missing is that I felt like if I drank wine, I should be drinking wine. But it was.
Had a little glass of wine.
I mean, come on, man. But when I tell you, I spent like 5 hours there just looking at the water, wading into the water, like listening to music. It was sublime. I was like, I feel like I should get back because there's a kid back at the hotel. So I would just text her every hour, like, you good? Yes. Did you leave the room? No. I was like, okay, bye. Yeah, but I had I'm glad to be back, but I had a really great time.
I think definitely years will pass and she'll look back on it, and wish that she had been a little older and, whatever. But I do want to say, though, the thing that she's discovering, which I think is really important. And I think I wouldn't want anyone to listen to this and think I shouldn't let my teenager or my young kid like go out and be homesick, because I think being homesick is an important part of the journey into adulthood. It's like letting your tether get longer and longer, like you've always wanted it to be. And then realizing that home really is where the heart is. And I'm going to sound super cliche and like, I don't care. But the thing is, like, sometimes I believe that we envision travel to be this like destination where when we go there, we'll be a better version of ourselves and our relationships will be better and we'll come back and, things will feel better. And like vacations are so, if we can just make it to summer vacation, then things will be better. But then you go and what you find out is you come back and the same old bullshit's waiting for you. And like a vacation's never going to fix if something's not right. And it also is never going to replace like where you feel home and where you feel loved and safe. So I'm really proud of her.
Me too.
For, she went. I mean, you made it pretty easy for her that she went. But it just reminds me of how I felt. I didn't have near as many comforts as she did, but when I started to travel by myself and get really homesick, and I'd be like, why do I feel this way? I should be so lucky. This is what I wanted. I bought this. No one sent me here. But then I just realized, like, it just means that you've got something good at home, and it's okay
to miss it
to miss it and to sometimes not leave it if you just are happy where you are. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. I get it. And I hope that,
we go to Canada next time.
Save some of those points for yourself, Tiff.
Yeah. Oh, girl, please. We had so many like that. Yeah, I have like after literally as soon as we landed after that, I took my sisters and we went to Chicago. Because my sister Karen lives in Chicago with her husband.
Chicago sister.
Yes, and so literally I landed, and the next day,
scientist.
Yeah, the scientist. She's married to a doctor, and so we landed and we went, and honestly we had such a great trip. It was a really nice wind down trip because we weren't going to Chicago to like do Chicago-y things. We literally just hotel, went to her house all day. The kids played. My sister Carol and her 2 kids played with my sister Karen's kid Lily. They're around the same age, same height. So they just played all day, and then we went home in the evening. So it was really like just like chilling at home, but my sister's house. So it was really nice to go and have kind of like this wind down and sister time before school started for all the kids. She was so happy that we came. We were there for like 4 days, and I used points to do that too. Like, honestly, I never was I didn't really get like the point thing, but especially because of the fact that I have a business, I get to accumulate them so much faster. And I make sure that every trip I'm on, if someone flies me out or whatever, I always put my number, my United number. I insist, ideally, can I fly United? Because United has a hub in Newark. And so that way I can collect, these points. So for me personally, I get to enjoy the fruits. Or even like if I'm staying in a hotel, I have Hilton and Marriott. And so like if a brand wants to put me up, I try to get put up in a hotel where I can collect points. So like now when I go somewhere, I can use like right now Hilton and Marriott both have free 3-night stays because of the points I've accumulated. So I can use that for my own like chilling time, So honestly, like the financial lesson in all of this is that like, there are ways to kind of like monetize your choices on the back end, so you can use it to enhance like, your life. If your job has you travel a lot, and you're flying a lot, please, if you don't have, an airline loyalty, that's a great way to accumulate points. If you're using a card, accumulating points that way. And also too, if there's a hotel that you stay at, make sure you sign up for whatever that loyalty is. And, because even though like companies would book me, it didn't mean I couldn't put down my loyalty number, when I got to the hotel and add the points that way. So there's just a really great way to be able to continue the good times,
Like passive. I love
yes,
that.
I really do.
I think the reason people get overwhelmed by the whole points game is that it is a game. It's like a gamification. People are obsessed with this and that and the third. And I just like the way you're doing it is how I feel like it works for me too. Just get the right card.
Yep.
Maybe one or two.
Yep.
And then just do what you're going to do anyway.
Yes.
And then reap the rewards.
That's it. And if you ever get confused, there's a great, like, the Points Guy is a great resource.
Yes.
So there would be times when I wasn't really sure about a thing, and I would just go on and, like, search there. And I'm like, because that's all he does all day, every day. And he'll explain it really clearly, like, okay. Then I might call American Express and say, hey, I read somewhere that I can use it in this way. How do I do that? So, like, he's, like, super deep dive into it. But to Mandi's point, I don't know how to do all that. Just basic use of points, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned back to school. And can I just tell you, I became a mother last week. I thought I was a mom before, but I wasn't. Actually, 3 weeks ago, when my mom was in town and we went to Target and we went straight to the back to school section. And I let my 3-year-old, he picked out a lunchbox and a backpack. They still make the same little subject like notebooks. They haven't innovated those. They're the same. The 5-star, 5 subject spiral notebooks, the number 2 pencils, the XO markers, the Elmer's glue. It's all the same. And I had my little list on my phone, and I was like, we need this and that and this. $175 later. Golly, what?
And for a preschooler.
Right? For a preschooler. Because, they wanted the, disinfectant the hand sanitizer, extra supplies for the classroom. And he wanted, he had to get brand new backpack lunchbox. He never had any of that before. But it was so, I just kept looking at my mom like, what? It was so bizarre, because for me back to school was like a really exciting time. I like to get the new Lisa Frank stationery set and like my new shiny notebook, and I was like, this year's gonna be different. I'm gonna have friends and I'm gonna do good in school. Eventually that happened, but anyway, so Rio was getting his back to school supplies because he's officially a pre-K-er. And did I tell you we had never had a lottery, like a universal pre-K in my town where I live in Westchester, which was really lame because basically every other town around us has it, or city, or I don't know. They separate these little areas of Westchester very confusingly. So finally, we found out I think I was in labor. I was at the hospital when we got the email saying that there's going to be a UPK program and you can enter. And I was like, making me a reminder on my calendar because I want to remember this. And there are only 32 spots. He got in and he started on Thursday. And it's really close to where we live. And it's actually on the way to his old daycare. Okay. So... And I'm in this group chat now with a lot of parents, and I'm finding a lot of parents whose kids had been homeschooled or like just had been home are struggling with the, going into school for the first time and like the anxiety and all that. And I feel like for me, Rio's been doing really well. And I think just because I had for I think the past month or two, ever since I found out he got in, we would drive past it. I'd pull in. I'd be like, this is where your door is going to be. Let's go see if there's any decorations. Let's see if the playground's built yet, because it's all brand new. And just seeing him, get this huge backpack. They asked for a full-size backpack. I don't know why. It's like 2/3 of his body mass.
I love that. What does he have a character or whatever on it?
So he chose a neon frog design.
Okay.
I think he thinks they're dinosaurs. I didn't want to tell him because it was really cute. But they're like all the different color, different frogs and stuff. And he got the matching lunchbox. And then he picked out a little like bento box for his food. And in true mom of a toddler fashion, what to put in it kept me up the night before. And I was like, if you don't relax about what to put in his lunchbox, I just had him decide. And luckily, my husband's mother has been here the past few days helping. Okay. And because Rio requested tostones. And I was like, my little Dominican baby.
Does he say it with the accent? I want tostones.
Oh, no. He's just, but it's really cute. He's starting to finally learn some Spanish. But I was just telling my mother-in-law this morning because she was lamenting the fact that, the kids don't speak Spanish and her other nieces and nephews' kids don't speak Spanish. And I was like, listen, Myra, I promise you in my own Spanish, te lo prometo. No voy a tener un hijo que se llama Rio Francisco Santos que no se habla español. I can't have a son in the world whose name is Rio Francisco Santos and he can't speak Spanish. Like, what am I doing? False advertising. He's going to be set up for failure. So he has to learn. But yeah, he asked for his tostones and I made him a grilled cheese and he chose that.
Okay.
He selected his own strawberries.
Okay.
And he put them in his little bento box. And he had a great first day. And I was like haggard by the time I dropped him off. And I only had him home for a week in between. So for the parents, when with like if your camp or your school, like whatever you had your kids in this summer, if there was a gap between that and real school, God bless you. I toast to you this entire carafe of French press. This is for us, okay? Because we did it.
No, so financial question. As a result of him getting, universal pre-K is something that's been in Newark for a long time. It means the kids get to go to school for free, basically, because they consider pre-K part of public school, which is free. So how much are you saving as a result? Like, what were you paying for daycare and for how much are you saving?
Oh, my God. Thank you for asking me because I just wanted to. Oh, I feel so good. I was paying $2,055
a month.
A month for 5 day a week, all day daycare.
And what's all day? What time to what time?
I would drop him off like 9 and I pick him up at 4:30 or 5.
Okay.
So like 9 to 5. And so UPK, it is free. This is true. But the catch is they have very limited hours. So it's only from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., which is a very short day. And for most working Americans, like, no, you can't do that. Not only that, but I live about 40 minutes outside of Manhattan where a lot of parents who live here work for the proximity to the city, but you have to get on a train. And so my husband's commute's like an hour and 15 minutes. So 9 a.m. drop off, we'll get him to the office at 10:30. Like there's just, for a lot of parents, that is not going to work. So for the low price of $500, we can pay for a little bit of time, like to drop him off early and pick him up late. So at 4:30. So we're still saving significantly.
So that's $500 for the month.
For the month.
Oh, that's great.
So it's about $1,500, yeah. And not only that, but I didn't realize what the benefit is one of the biggest things for me that's become a benefit is that he's in a class with the kids he's going to go to kindergarten with.
Oh, I love that.
And then first grade and then second grade. They're all in the same school district. Yes, for real though. And one of the moms made a Facebook group and when I looked at it and it said, the class of 2037.
Oh my God.
My heart dropped. I'm like,
no, I love that.
But I never had the benefit, and I don't know where our lives will take us. Who knows if he'll graduate from this school district, but and I was talking to my mom about this because my mom was a single mom of 4 kids for a long time. And, one of her biggest regrets, she said, is that she wasn't able to be as involved with our school lives because she was surviving. And I don't remember ever missing that. Like I would see the other moms who were more involved and just be like, okay, nice cupcakes. Thank you, Miss Jones. But she's like, because I was starting to kind of, think, all these like back to school things and like the parents' nights and the mom group on Facebook. And she says, Mandi, you're going to regret it if you don't invest and get to know. And I'm so glad that and get to know the parents and the teachers and stuff and be really involved because you have the privilege of being more involved than I did. And it's really true. It's really true. So I feel not only are we saving the money, but it feels good. And it feels like this shouldn't be special in 2023 to have your kids in public preschool, like it just makes so much sense. Like, why don't we, and why do we still have so many places where UPK is a special, announcement, a special treat, or doesn't even exist? So we're just very grateful. And to any parents who sent their kids off to school last week or the week before or whenever, just bless. We survived the summer. Okay?
You should have seen Carol. She got Roman and Mimi. She was clicking her heels, honey, because she was like, "Oh my God!" And like they're in the same school. I think last year that was the first time they were in the same school, which is
because Mimi's in kindergarten now?
No, she's going to first grade. No, wait. Yeah, she's going to first grade. She was in kindergarten last year. Now Amelia's really smart. Like Roman be teaching her all the things she needs to know. Forget her mama. Yeah. That's his baby. And so Carol said, like, y'all heard me talk about Roman and Amelia. Amelia's pretty like, girl, I got it together. I'm smart, but. And Roman can be a little bit timid, although he's obviously super smart. She said that like one time in the middle of the night, she like woke her up and was like, "Mommy." And like right before school, she's like, "What?" She's like, "I'm scared about school." She's like, "It's the same school you always go to." She's like, "Yeah, but I'm going to first grade and it's going to be really hard." Oh, I know. Not Daredevil Amelia. Not, let me give you if you tell Amelia, I'm going to spank your booty, she'll toot it up like, do it. That's a sign of a kid that never gets spanked. Like, not that Amelia, not Mimi. Talk to adults like she's grown. And so, but I love what Carol told her. She said, "Amelia, who won the spelling bee in your school, in your class?" She's like, "I did." She's like, "Who's the best reader in your class?" Because Amelia's a really good reader. She's been reading since she was 3 because Roman. And she was like, "I am." And she was like, "Don't you know everything that Roman knows?" She said, "I do." And she's like, "He's in 3rd grade. Do you think 3rd grade is harder than 1st grade?" She's like, "No." She's like, "So if you know everything that Roman knows and you're going to be in 1st grade, then you're going to do just fine." And I was like, "Oh, look at you, good parenting." She was like, "Now go back to sleep." But I just thought that was like, oh, with all your kiddos going off to school, like don't forget to give them a little encouragement, because even the little tough ones like Mimi sometimes need a little encouragement.
You're
but
so right.
As a teacher, honestly, I loved back to school, even though sometimes I'm like, oh God, back to school. But then I see my little babies trucking on in, and what I do love, which I'm glad they're doing more of, it seems like in school, is that the same thing happens at their school, is that you're in the same class, and their school goes up to 8th grade. So they get to stay in their cohort from pre-K all the way up to 8th grade. So imagine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so like that's great for a kid like Roman, who doesn't make friends easily because he's so shy. He wasn't scared this year because he's like, this kids from last year, the same ones I didn't talk to, they're back, And so like I love that. Like I think cohort learning is great because it allows kids who need a little more time to like navigate socially. It gives them that opportunity. So I love that.
As a fellow Roman, as a child, that's great, because I moved school so much. It was not happening for me. So, well, I'm glad that you had a good trip. We back to school. We back to Brown Ambition. Yes. We are celebrating 8 years, baby girl. Yes. Where are you taking me?
I know. We have to plan something.
I think we have something on the calendar for Friday.
I saw that.
We actually do. We have a hold for.
I know. We have a hold. I'm going to have to do a rain track on that. I'm sorry.
Every year. Has the last 8 years meant nothing to me?
Besides, I feel like when we do, let's do the sushi. Like
what I give every day. Just kidding.
Let's do a sushi class as a fun, let's make that.
I would love that. Love it. But 8 years? Oh my goodness.
I know. We have a middle schooler. We have a Brown Ambition middle schooler. Sidebar before we jump into break. Girl, I heard you had Drake on or whatever.
Listen, when my little brother Alex was a guest on the show, and I actually listened back to that episode, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great.
It was annoying during it because I had to listen to him a lot, and I had to it was very strange interviewing my brother. But once I got through the weirdness of it, it was actually great. Yeah. I think he's just a fantastic person, independent of being my flesh and blood. But yes, see for yourself if you think he looks more like Drake or me.
Literally, he does look like you, Abby. Okay. But literally, it was so funny to read the comments on our IG. People were like, "Girl," for a minute I was like, "They got Drake on?" Because I've been calling him Drake for the longest, and y'all were like, "Tiffany, I said I told you, girl. I told you."
Listen, she wasn't lying, okay? She wasn't lying.
Yes.
And like Drake, he has a lot going on, and he is creative and fantastic. I was thinking about him and I when you were talking about Roman and Mimi. I can't say I was as sweet to my little brother as Roman seems to be to Mimi. But however, that sibling bond and competitiveness is just amazing. So definitely check out that episode.
Yes. We have not done Brown Bruce in such a long time.
Such a long time. I'm ready though.
Right? I can barely remember the song. And now it's time to boost or break or boost or break or boost or break. Are you gonna boost? Are you gonna break? What you gonna do? What you gonna take? I know, with my limited memory. You know, sidebar, I think I might have ADHD.
It's very in now.
Yeah, it is. But I was thinking to myself, like, I was like reading, some symptoms because, WebMD. But honestly, because someone had asked me that, I was talking to like this psychologist, whatever. She was one of my mentees at my mentor, Tiffany, like my .com, my business mentorship. And she had come out to see me and I was talking. And you know me, I'd be talking and then my brain goes this way. And then I would be like, right? Because on Friday. I'm like, oh, that's right. You weren't in my head. Think what I was thinking. And she was like, have you ever been diagnosed with ADHD? She's like, I'm not diagnosing you, but there's some things here. And I was like, no, but you know what? That wouldn't be too crazy. And she was like, I said, if it is, it's that good ADHD because it got me. She was like, truthfully, Tiffany, in women, especially Black women, it presents, not in this way that drags you down, like to your point, you've been able to be creative and motivated and all this other stuff. But I told her my memory is like, I can either remember like the most minute random detail or like, what was her name that she just told me like 5 minutes ago? And so anyway, I had asked Dr. Green if I should get tested for ADHD. I mean, she was like, certainly you can. She's like, as long as you're not going to use it as a thing to make yourself feel bad about it. I'm like, no. But it might be helpful to say, oh, if I find out I do have ADHD, here are some tools to help you remember certain things or when I'm having a hard time pushing through it. I think it just might help. So as an adult, it's harder to get like classified or whatever. So, but I'm going to work with my therapist to like learn like how do I go about figuring out if I do? And then if I am, what are some tools and things I can use to help me with the parts that I do struggle with, So, yeah, I just wanted to...
your therapist wouldn't diagnose you, though. It has to be a psychiatrist.
I believe so. But Dr. Green was like, I can give, I can connect you. She's like, if you really want to know, certainly, I can connect you. Her concern was like, are you trying to find out because you're feeling bad about something? I'm like, no. Honestly, I don't. Like, I would want to know because it's like, oh, so the fact that I have a hard time remembering stuff is that, and that here's a tool that people use to do so or whatever. I'm not looking to take any medication or anything like that. I'm like, girl, we good. But I'm just curious because that would be helpful. Like, oh, that's why. Because my brain is never quiet.
Not to be flippant about it, ADHD is like really, like gaining like more awareness. And you're maybe the third adult friend I've had who I had 2 that have been diagnosed. Okay. And you're the third to like bring it up. But I agree. I might as well know.
But I know for some people, I know that there are components that are really hard. Some people can't navigate. Some people can't. Day-to-day life is too hard. But she said that it presents very differently in girls and women. She said, which is likely why you might not have ever been, because you were so high functioning, And so, like if I do, then I'm like, oh, okay. Like what are the things I can do to help me with the parts? Because I remember distinctly, I can literally see myself sitting in like, it was like my math class. I think I was like either in middle school or high school. And I forgot something. And I remember thinking to myself, because we had just found out that our math teacher was diagnosed with dementia, even though she was very young. I mean, I didn't think she was young because she was only 40. But at the time, 40 in high school is like, girl, you old either way. So when the girl said that I was like, okay, well, she's 40. Ain't that about right? They're like, no. Girl, no. And I remember thinking, well, one of the reasons is because she was very forgetful. She would take attendance like 3 or 4 times during the class. We thought it was silly. Oh. She would forget names, even though, so I remember thinking, well, I forget those things, but I don't have dementia because I'm young. But I remember thinking, Tiffany, I need you to remember that when you get old and you still have a bad memory, it's not dementia, it's just you. Like, I remember distinctly, like, trying to burn that into my brain so I wasn't like, oh my gosh. It's like, so yeah, when I'm 80 years old and I'm like, what's she saying again? Like, she old. I'm like, no, I've been forgot. Stop. Anyway, that's a little.
I used to watch Oprah way too young. I'd be like looking at 40-year-old, 50-year-old women's problems and thinking I had them. You know?
Oh my god.
Okay, brown boost, brown break.
Yes, is she gonna boost? You gonna break, Mandra?
I am going to do a huge boost because I am just so damn proud of one of my oldest friends. Her name is Julie Lone, and she is a children's book author on top of being.
I seen it.
You see it. It's so good. So Julie, she works 9 to 5 for Disney, actually, in their books division. And she's been in publishing for a long time. She and I went to journalism school together and used to work on the newspaper together. And she just published a children's book that's so damn special and adorable and beautiful. It's called The Truth About Dragons. And it's the perfect read, I would say, for like toddlers and above. And the beautiful thing about it is Julie is Chinese. Her husband is white American. Well, she's Chinese American. Her husband's white. And he's not a cheese. He's a white guy. He's white. And white Americans, like what I ordered from BJ's the other day for our cheese. I don't know. Well, he's Caucasian. Anyway. And they have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. And it was during the pandemic when she was, you know, like a new mom, just like I was. And her son, Kieran, he has dual heritages. And so she wrote the book, The Truth About Dragons. And the story is about 2 different versions of what a dragon is, told through the points of view of his grandmothers. So the grandmother from the Chinese side and the grandmother from the white American cheese side. And
where can the girlies get it?
Everywhere. I think it's published with Macmillan. So yeah, any bookstore online. We can post a link to like a good bookstore for y'all to buy from. But Truth About Dragons is the book, and I'm just so proud of Julie because, like me, you know, she's just one of those friends we've gotten so much closer since having kids. And also I got to see this book when it was, you know, she just got the pages back from the illustrator, and she's just always been really focused on her art, even as she was working 9 to 5. So,
did she draw it?
No, the writing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she didn't draw it, but the writing. And I was at her book launch, this really adorable book launch where she lives in Connecticut this past weekend. And there's just something really special about being in this age that we're at, like with my friends and friends that I knew, you know, almost 2 decades ago in college. But getting to see us reap what we've sown, you know, like to sit in the audience and see one of my beloved friends who 20 years ago was just, you know, dreaming about being an author, and getting her to like release her children's book. And it's not even her first, but it just made me so warm and fuzzy inside. It's really fun to get to see your friends live their dreams in real time. So
I'm looking at this now, like I see, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all these amazing reviews. The illustrations are just
they're
beautiful. Stunning. Oh my goodness. This is just like, and honestly, yeah, this is just great. Okay, Julie, I love this. You know, I love me an illustration. So this is awesome. And it's an editor's pick book for best book ages 6 to 8. It got to be an editor's pick on the Zon. So that's awesome.
It's doing really well. She's just brilliant and way too humble. So I love to shout her out. And obviously Coco Gauff, like, congratulations.
Girl.
You won the US Open.
Congratulations
I don't know
to my
nothing
haters.
about tennis, but I know it was fabulous, okay? Congrats.
I can't believe I like to thank my haters. I said Coco. Yes, Gen Z.
Baby Snoop Dogg.
Girl.
I like to thank myself. Me, myself, and I.
She said, you thought. This ain't Serena.
19.
Like, I clap back, okay? No shade to Serena, but you know, Serena, y'all dragged her through the mud and she tried her best to rise above. Coco said, we don't do that here. These young kids is like, nah, yo, you're going to get your lick back right back.
Yeah. Yes. Happy. Okay, what are you going to do? Boost or break?
I'm going to boost because I've been feeling really, like, you know, ever since Jarrell passed away, I just said to myself that there's a big transition that I've been wanting to have. And I just didn't, I just been in a weird space of like, I know that I don't want to do what I've done before, but I don't want to not do what some of the things I've done. I'm talking about professionally, especially. So I've made some like adjustments to like, you know, like y'all know I walk every day, I take my naps, spend more time with family and friends. But professionally, I felt like I haven't gotten to the place where I want to be, meaning like how I want life to go. I want my professional life to line up more aligned with my personal life. And so recently I just kind of reached a fever pitch where I was like, I don't want to do the Budgetnista in the same way anymore. I had to admit that. I said it in therapy. I told Dr. Green, she's like, this is the first time. And she's like, I've known this, but I've been waiting for you to say the words. And I said, I've been afraid to say the words because does that mean I want to walk away from this business? She said, that's not what you said, but it's okay to admit the way you've been doing it, you don't want to do it. Because it's very face front, it's very dancing for a dollar, it's very busy, busy, busy. And although I've definitely reduced it, it's not enough, you know? Like it's been like a low key version of what I was doing before, and it's not enough. And admitting that kind of like it opened up the floodgates, because what I was most afraid about was telling the team, which I have because I wouldn't tell y'all first. It's like, well, what does that mean? You know, because there are people who depend on the business and everything else. But I shared kind of like the fact that like I don't want to not do the Budgetnista, but not like this, and I'm not sure what this looks like. You know, and I was like, I want us to figure it out together. I want us to navigate, but you have the space and the freedom to say, you know what, maybe I want something that's a little more stable. I mean, not that, I mean, I pay, y'all know I pay, I never not pay, but meaning like, I don't know what the ups and downs to come are. And I don't know, where the company is going to land. So I just wanted to give you the grace to know that like, if you're like, I have to move on or whatever, you could do so without judgment from me, but I'm just sharing that there's a transition coming and I'm not sure how it's going to land. And they would really thank you so much for being so transparent and honest, Tiffany. And we want to stay. We want to figure out what the new iteration of this is, which honestly, as a result of that, like we have come up with a really good idea. And I'm just like, I wish I would have said something sooner. And so what I would really love to be in the business of, so the part of the Budgetnista I like the most is the teaching part. Like I love showing up. I love teaching. I hate having to sell something. I'm like, oh my God, I hate having to have a product or whatever. It's just exhausting. I don't like that part. And I said, if it was up to me, when I first started the Budgetnista, I did everything for free, but then as you have a business, it's hard to do. How do you do everything for free, but still have a business that pays your employees because they have to be paid? And so I thought, well, what if one of the things that we're really good at Budgetnista is gathering insights about like the thoughts, hopes, dreams of the women that I serve, largely Black women. I said, there has to be company. Well, I know for a fact, because I see companies roll out products or services that they hope are going to land in our community. And I'm like, girl, nobody cares about that. That's not aligned. That's not moral. That's not fair. And I said, well, what if I could like give away, which is what I want to do, all the things I'm doing with the Budgetnista for free. And on the back end, because I already gather insights. Y'all give me insights all the time. I mean, we have surveys upwards of 200,000 respondents. And I use those insights to create, like I use the insight to create Get Good with Money. I use those insights to create the next Live Richer Challenge or whatever it is. But I was like, I know there are companies who also want to create good products and services that are aligned with this audience. So what if I use those insights to say, I can consult, I can help, for you to be like, this is how your product is misaligned. Here's how you get aligned based upon the insights that I've gathered. And so that's what I'd like to be in the business of ethical insights, And so I don't know what that looks like. I'm not going to lie. We just came up with this a week ago. So, I'm just over here chatting. But I'm excited about it because I'm sharing it because one of the things I've learned in business is that like to share the thing. And so since I've started to share it in the last week, I've reached out to like friends and corporate spaces. The response has been amazing. I was sharing like, for example, like we did a Live Richer Challenge in 2023, which is our 21-day free course that I do typically every January, give or take. And 300,000 people signed up. And we took surveys from everyone. And like I said, we usually use those insights just internally. Like they want this, they hate that, they love this. And so we have our next challenge that'll be launching in 2024, January. And I'm like, are there organizations, companies, brands that are like, I'd love to know what tens of thousands of women, specifically Black women. It's not all Black women because I know exactly who. We're like 75% women and like 80% of them are Black, but still majority of Black women, what they think and feel about a thing. It doesn't just have to be a financial thing. The good thing is I'm able to ask any question. Do you have natural hair? How long do you sleep at night? Like my audience, we've built like such an amazing space of trust. And so like I've kind of shared that and I've gotten such great responses of people who are wanting to partner to see like what I would like to know. So as I twist and turn into this new space, it won't really look that different to the audience because what it just looks like is more stuff is free from Tiffany. Yay.
Yeah.
You know, but on the back end, it feels less stressful. The onus of me showing up and having to dance for $1 is like not there as much. It allows the team to take on a bigger role, you know, and like me to just do the part that I like, which is just serve y'all. And so I'm just really like it, that's the boost. It's like, you know, sometimes you're so afraid of making the change that you don't realize there's actually more opportunity, more money, more whatever, you know, if you have the courage to pivot and make the change. So, you know, for those of you
say that again for the girls in the back,
girl, because it is scary though, because I'm not going to lie. This is almost since the beginning of the Budgetnista. This is one of our worst financial years that we've had, you know,
for the Budgetnista.
Yeah. For the Budgetnista financially.
Because you haven't wanted to.
Yes.
You haven't been around as much yet.
Yeah. Because if I dance for $1, you know, we're going to make millions and millions. We just barely will clear $1 million if we're lucky, which is like, what? For the Budgetnista? That's like unheard of. But it made me realize how much of the business relied upon me dancing for $1. And I think the team was scared because it's like, if Tiffany doesn't dance, what will we eat? And that's what I thought too. But I'm like, there has to be a business where I don't got to dance.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was afraid to make the transition. And so now I'm just like, I have to, because like I told the team, I'm not completely out of steam, but I'm just about. So if we don't pivot, there will be nothing. So if we can pivot and make money in a way that doesn't require that, then I could just do the thing I really like so much. And like I said, it's already like the partnerships are already starting to tentatively form where I feel really good. Like, wait, we don't have to work nearly as hard. I can just do this thing for free. I don't have to close a deal and have to be like, buy this, like, woo. So to me, there's a lift and a light. And so I hope for those of you who are listening, who are, you know, thinking about making a pivot, that there is definitely like this space between where you are and where you want to be. And you do as much work to get the space as close as possible. But there is a moment where it's not going to get any closer, where you actually have to leap. Mm-hmm. And that's the scary part, where you're like, okay, maybe I can reach. It's like, no, you're going to have to let go of the safety here and leap across this last little bridge. And so I've leapt. We haven't quite landed yet. We're going to see, but it's looking pretty good on this side. So,
and you're not leaping alone. And to actually tell your team, you know, Rose and Logan.
And Keisha and Carol, and
Tracy. Mm-hmm. Assuming everybody knows, like everybody knows.
Yeah.
Tell them all.
Everybody knows, yes.
And then realizing that, you know, you can reimagine what your business looks like for you with these with everyone's input. And because at the end of the day, you've got such a good team who wants you to thrive and survive. Like, you're not just doing it. Yeah. Of course, you're doing it for their income, because we all got to eat, right?
Yeah.
But there's like a genuine loyalty and trust, the same that you built with your community, also with people who work for you.
Yes.
And they want to see, and I think that is, you know, it speaks volumes of you as a leader and as a person and all of that. And I'm excited for the newest chapter. You can keep having new chapters every damn year if you want to. Like, you have permission. We all do. And I think it's great that you're, sharing that.
I'm just really excited. Well, my biggest thing is, like, I was really worried that the team would feel betrayed. That's what kept me here for so long. If I'm being honest, I was like, I don't want, they've worked so hard, and what I'm saying is that we're making a transition where it might not work, and maybe I should just suffer through it. So everybody, and I'm like, Tiffany, and it's so crazy because you have that in your mind. But when I told the team, they're like, girl, we could tell you're tired. We're like, what can we do to alleviate Tiffany? We're so worried. Yeah. And so, building a really great team. And so I'm honestly, I'm just really, really, really excited about the pivot. Because one thing about me is, like, I know how to put in work for us to be successful. I just want to, like I said, navigate differently. So, yay, boosty for the pivot.
It's almost like you're one of the, you know how they say, like, Jay-Z and Nas, these are the first retiring hip hop artists, or like, because hip hop's really young. It's just celebrated 50 years. Happy birthday, hip hop. And it's almost like you're one of the OG influencers, and you're sort of like paving, what does it look like to age well as an influencer?
Yes.
Like, because you can't be doing TikTok choreography and trying to chase the next social media trend forever, right? So I think that it's, so I think that fly bird, so the rest of us can watch and see.
No, I never thought about that. You're right.
Doing this?
Because there are people that, like, in the music industry that, like, unfortunately never pivoted. So they are 60 still on tour, which no shade or whatever. But I want to be like a Nas or a Jay-Z who, before that happened, pivoted and twisted in a way that they're like, okay, like, you know, Jay-Z every once in a while for fun, he's like, oh, I do a little rap for fun, but he's not doing it for money. It's for the love of making music. But he has built this underlying business that sees him through. But you're absolutely right. I want to, you know, like I told people, remember before I was like, I want to be less Sean Carter, less Jay-Z, more Sean Carter.
Yes.
You know, so exactly. Less the performer.
Less Diddy, more Sean Combs.
Yes. Like I want to be like the you know, I'm a businessman and I'm a businessman, you know, like yeah. So I'm excited. And I'm excited just to kind of share the ups and downs and the transparency of like what it all looks like. So as if you're going through something similar, whether it's in corporate or your own business or whatever, you know, maybe there's some takeaways you can take away. So
take them. Get them for free while you can. Okay?
Yes.
Well, so happy to be back in the stew with you, beautiful. Happy
Thank
8 years.
I know.
I can't wait for our sushi date.
Yes.
I feel like I'm the wifey in this relationship, so I'll plan it. I'll plan it. Don't worry. I won't think ill things about you while I'm doing it. They never plan anything. I gotta plan my own date night. I'll run it by you.
All right, y'all. We will see you on Friday, right? For a BAQA. You know, if you have questions, we have some answers, and send it to us at brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com. The BA Podcast on Twitter. You can tweet us. Brown Ambition Podcast on IG. Slide into the DMs and brownambitionpodcast.com and hit contact us or ask us anything. And we'll see you on Friday. Bye.
And thank y'all for 8 years. I forgot to thank you guys, the listener, BA fam. Would not be here without you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love forever.
Bye, y'all. Hey, BA fam. We're on YouTube. Woohoo! Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
And while you're at it, why don't you go over to that little bell icon and just tap that for us. Show the BA fam how much you love us. And that way you'll also get notifications when new videos drop. Also, share the channel with a friend. We're always like, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And thank y'all so much again for all the support.